guys, welcome back to the Cozy Corner. Today I'm going to be doing a book haul to show you guys all the books that I've managed to accumulate so far this year. So that's from the beginning of January up until now, which is the end of August. Two quick things before I start. Disclaimer, there are very few of these books I've actually paid full price for. I've been very lucky in able to find them at a very good discounted price. So yes, don't come at me in the comments saying I'm wasting my money, because I'm not. It makes me happy. And on that note, Mum and Dad, if you're watching this, maybe don't. Maybe go take yourselves out for a nice little walk on the beach, or go for a coffee, or go out for lunch. But if you really and truly want to stay and witness what your child has become, then yes, they are only books. It could be so much worse. So with that being said, let's get into it. I've tried to divide these into piles depending on, I don't want to say what I've paid for them, but you'll get the gist as I go along. So the first pile of books are books that I've actually managed to get for free, whether it be from free little libraries, or friends donating books to me, or people actually buying them. Wait, that's a different pile. Free libraries or people very kindly donating them to me. So the first one is Scott Mariani's The Tudor Deception. I did manage to get this one free from a little library. I haven't read it yet. I can't wait to read it. If you've been on my channel before, you know that Tudor historical fiction is my absolute favourite to read, so I will be getting to that soon. The next free book from a little free library is The Book Thief. I have not read this yet, and I know so many people who say it's one of the best books they've ever read, so I also look forward to reading that one. Again, from a free little library is The Chronicles of Narnia, The Magician's Nephew, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and The Horse and His Boy. I've only read The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and I'm very interested to see what the other two stories are about. I have been trying to find the whole collection, but I have not had much luck, so I found this in the free little library and I was like, well, it's a start. And ironically, I did have this exact copy when I was like 10. My great grandmother bought it for me, and then I ended up accidentally donating it to a charity store. It accidentally ended up in the donation pile when it should have ended back on my bookcase, so I was quite happy that I did find the copy again. And then a couple of other free books that I've found are, one I'm currently reading is The Book Lovers Library. Just started it today. It's actually really good, so I'll be reading more of that a bit later on. Elizabeth Strout, Tell Me Everything. This will be reviewed in my July roundup, I believe. But yeah, I love Elizabeth Strout's style of writing. And then the last free one that I found is The Wheel is Spinning but the Hamster is Dead. And it's a journey around the world in idioms, proverbs and general nonsense, and it is quite an amusing little book. Yeah, I did enjoy that one a lot, and the reason this one was free is because somebody had sliced, I'm guessing when they unpacked it, they'd sliced through the front of the book, but still readable. The next pile of books I have are books of very kindly been gifted to me or donated to me. So I have very recently had a birthday, and for this birthday I have received The Storyteller of Auschwitz, which I am very much looking forward to reading. Miranda Hart, I haven't been entirely honest with you. I love Miranda Hart. I think she's really, really funny, and I love the fact that she doesn't really care what people think about her, and I think that's such an important mindset to have. So I'm very much looking forward to reading that one. Stephen King's Misery. I bought this with a book token that my friend very kindly gave me for my birthday for an upcoming reading challenge video. The same with Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. That will also be coming up in a Reading Challenge video. I'm very much looking forward to reading both of those. And then the next 4, one of my friends very kindly donated to me when she heard that I was going to be doing reading challenges, and I spoke to her about certain books, what she liked, and she was getting rid of these ones, so she very kindly donated them to me, and that is the Hunger Games trilogy, and then also David Copperfield, which is an absolute beast of a book. I didn't quite realise it was this long, and the writing is quite small, so I am looking forward to reading it, but I'm also a little bit intimidated with it. The next pile of books I'm going to go for are the only books I've actually paid full price for in this whole haul, which is probably the smallest pile I have. Again, the majority of these are for upcoming reading challenge videos. So I have Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, which I haven't read yet and I'm very excited to start reading. The Man Who Was Thursday by G.K. Chesterton. Apologies if you can hear that in the background, the neighbours are having works done and they've very inconveniently started to drill, but it's fine, we roll. This was a recommendation by various booktubers, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I did want the navy blue cover, but I was out with my mother when we were searching for this book, and we went to 4 different bookstores and everybody had sold out. Then we went into the last shop, which wasn't even a proper bookstore, on the off chance that they had it, because I knew they had a small book section, and there it was. So beggars can't be choosy. I do have a copy now, so I can't wait to start reading that one. The next 2 are books that I picked up while I was in Edinburgh. Scottish Ghosts and Scottish Murders. Scottish Murders I've already read. I found it very interesting. Yes. I have very cheerful neighbours. They're always very happy to see each other. And then Scottish Ghosts is one that I started reading and then for some reason put down. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, I just got distracted with something else and haven't picked it up again, so that has gone back on my TBR, and hopefully we will get to pick it up maybe for October reads, like spooky season. That would be quite cool. So for the moment that will go back on the non-fiction TBR. 7.5 Lessons About the Brain. So I was in London going to see a comedy show, and one of the games that this improv group play is they grab books from the audience and then they can only speak in lines from the books, and I didn't have a book with me at the time. It was one of the only times I didn't carry a book with me, so I went and bought a book that I also wanted to read afterwards, so I ended up getting this one. I haven't read it yet. Lots of complicated diagrams in it, so maybe when I'm feeling a little bit more with it, I'll give that one a go, but it does sound very interesting. Flowers for Algernon is again going to be coming up in a reading challenge, and this was a recommendation from somebody's opinion I really value, so I'm very, very much looking forward to reading this. I haven't read the blurb on purpose. I want to go into this reading challenge blind, based purely on recommendations from 4 very wonderful people, so I will let you know how I get on with that one. The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett was one that I treated myself to as a birthday gift to myself. This came recommended by the booktuber Jack Edwards and therefore will be read with a lot of interest. It is about twin twins. I believe they're mixed race, but they can get away with being both white and or black. So one of the twins decides to live as a white woman while the other twin decides to live as a black woman, and it just tells their story from each one's perspective. So I'm very much looking forward to reading that. It sounds really, really interesting, and thank you, Jared, for that recommendation. I'm doing a lot of talking. Right, breathe. The next one I got is My Grandmother Sends Her Regards and Apologies, and this started a Fredrik Backman obsession for me. I absolutely love his style of writing. I bought this one for the cover because I thought the cover of the little garden dog was so cute, and I did really enjoy it because I tugged the heck out of it. So that was another one that I got this year, followed by Britt Marie Was Here, which is actually the sequel to the Grandmother Sends Her Regards and Apologies. I finished reading that one in July, so that'll be, no I didn't, I finished reading that one August, that'll be in my August reviews, and so good, so good. But yeah, I won't say any more about that in this video. The next two that I got were books 1 and 2 of the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I did a review on that one, that was in my July reads, I believe. So that was really, really good. And then I also bought the second one in the series, which will be up in my August reviews, I want to say. Who knows, I'll have to check that. It was either my July or my August, I'm pretty sure it was in my August. So that one will have a review coming up pretty soon. And then the last two books that I paid full price for in this haul was Poet X, which is basically what's listed on cover. It is a fiction told through poetry. So X is a young black female poet, and it just tells the story of her life through beautiful poetry. I really, really enjoyed this and I highly recommend it. It's stunning. And then the very last one that I bought was A Little Princess on the recommendation of Ruby Granger, who says this is her favourite book of all time and she reads it every year. I did enjoy the first third and the last third. The second third I struggled a little bit, but it was still a really good book, so I recommend that one as well. Okay, and now we're going to get to my piles of books which are discounted books. So I divided these up into two piles. The first pile I'm going to start with is books that I've got from the book company World of Books. This video isn't sponsored at all, but I love getting secondhand books. I love getting pre-loved books. I think it's a really good idea, and I do get the majority of my secondhand books from World of Books. They come in really good condition at a really reasonable price, and they do quite often have the offer buy 3 get 1 free on the majority of their books. So if you are after a book but you don't want to pay full price for it, do consider World of Books because I think they're really good. So the first pile of World of Books books that I have purchased this year, there's still so many left. Anyway, is Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kwan. I have not read this yet. I am intrigued to read this. I got this one for pure FOMO, and then it's just sat on my TBR because there's so many other books that I got since then, which I also had FOMO for and read those first. So hopefully in the next couple of months, I plan on reading that before the end of the year. So hopefully that happens. The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, which I picked out for my September reads, so I will start reading that very shortly. I'm very much looking forward to that one. The next one was, did I also? No. All the Broken Places, which is the sequel to The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas, and it is the story of his sister and her life and how the events of what happened in The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas has affected her life. I really enjoyed it. There were lots of mixed reviews about this book, but I thought it was really well written. So yes, do recommend. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. This wasn't the cover that I wanted. I did want the movie cover, but again, beggars can't be choosy. I desperately wanted to read it. I couldn't find the movie cover, so we got this one. It was such a good read. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, you need to read it. I don't feel I would do it justice trying to explain how good this book is, so yeah, you definitely need to read this one. Another one that I bought from Modder Books and have already read is Stay Where You Are and Then Leave, and this is also by John Boyne, and it's about a little boy whose father's come back from war with PTSD, is in hospital, and the little boy sneaks into the hospital to see his dad, and he's shocked about what he sees, and he tries to kidnap his dad from the hospital. I don't know if kidnap is the right word. Parent nap? I don't know, but it's a really good story. Yeah, it's about love, war, hope, secrets, and above all about the truth. So do recommend that one. The next one we've got is The Freedom Writer's Diary, which there is a movie based on the book with Hilary's, what's her name? I think they actually called Hilary Swank. It's a really good movie, and then I found out that it was based on a true story, and the Freedom Writers actually did write Freedom Writer's Diary, so I bought that. It was a really good read, very interesting to see how disadvantaged people in society see the rest of society. Yeah, how these young people literally fought to survive every day. I highly recommend that one. The next two I got as a pair were Lady Mary and My Name is Victoria. So this one is about Queen Mary I, and this one is about Queen Victoria. Haven't read them yet. Very excited to read them. Again, you know me, I love historical fiction, so they will be read pretty soon. Continuing with the pile of books that I've got from Modder Books, I have Murder in the Tower of London by Jim Eldridge, and I've literally just finished reading this one last night. It was so good. So good. It's got me out of a reading slump, and I highly recommend it, especially if you like detective type books, but it's not too serious or too intense, so I do recommend that one, and that one will be coming up in my August reviews video as well. And then I have, I'm going to put that one to the side for a minute because that goes with a couple of other books. Another book that I got for a reading challenge coming up is Love Letters to the Dead by Ava Delara, correct me if I'm wrong. And this just sounds so good. It begins as an exam for English class. Write a letter to a dead person. Laurel chooses Kurt Cobain. He died young, and so did Laurel's sister May. So maybe he'll understand what Laurel's going through. Soon, Laurel is writing letters to lots of dead people. Heath Ledger, River Phoenix, Amelia Earhart, Amy Winehouse. It's like she can't stop. She writes about her new high school, her friends, her first love, and her shattered life. That just sounds stunningly intriguing. I cannot wait to start that reading challenge because it's high up on the TBR. The other book I got is The Appeal by Janice Hallett. This came as a recommendation from one of my friends from work, and she really enjoyed it. I think she said she thought she worked out about halfway through who the criminal was, but then she was wrong. So I'm interested to see if I come up with the same conclusion as she did, or if I come up with somebody different. I can't imagine I'll be right because I never quite seem to get it. So it's One Murder, 15 Suspects, Can You Uncover the Truth? So the book is written in emails, exchange of emails and texts, and that's all the book is. And then by reading these emails and text exchange, you as the reader have to work out who the murderer is, and then obviously at the end it does tell you who the murderer is. So I'm really excited to start reading that. Again, maybe something for spooky season, I don't know, we'll see. Next up is a book that I seem to talk about every video post, and that is Little White Edward Carey, which is the historical fiction of Madame Tussauds. Those who don't know, Madame Tussauds is the lady who came up with the wax figurines of famous people. So there's Madame Tussauds in London, in I think it's Hong Kong, New York, I imagine there's other places as well, but I know of those three. So I'm very interested to see how she got into that sort of business and what pulled her towards it. So this is also a very anticipated read on my TBR, and I hope I get to it at some point soon. Right, so after that I went on a bit of a theme for the next set of books. So I bought books on two subjects that really fascinate me. The first one is criminal profiling and criminal psychology. So I got Lady Killers, which are deadly women through history. You don't find many books on lady killers because they're not as common as male killers, but I'm very intrigued by the psychology behind them, so very much looking forward to reading that. Again, spooky season might come up. And then Mindhunter inside the FBI's elite serial crime unit. Again, this looks very, very interesting, and it is looking at the psychology behind what makes a serial killer, and I'm just very intrigued. So I think spooky season is pretty much set up. I've got a lot of reads that would fit well. And then another branch I'm interested in, and this may sound a little bit odd to people because you're either interested in it or you're not, there doesn't seem to be any middle ground, is the funeral industry. So I have, my godfather owns a funeral home, and then my mother's cousin works at a funeral home, and his wife also works at a funeral home. So it's kind of like family interest as such. So I got a few books. Sorry for Your Loss, which is the memoirs of a oh gosh, what do you call it? Coroner, that's the word I was looking for. So very interested to read that. And then Dr. Richard Shepard's The 7 Ages of Death. I recently read his book Unnatural Causes, and that was amazing. I couldn't put it down, so I'm very much looking forward to reading that one as well. One I got recently is Mary Roach Stiff, which is The Curious Lives of Human Cadavers. I think it's to do with what happens to your body after you pass away. So I'm very intrigued in reading that one. Rest in Pieces is a book by another, I don't know if she's a coroner funeral or just works in the funeral industry. Bess Lovejoy is her name, and she just walks us through various famous deaths. So we've got like Christopher Columbus, Geronimo, Charlie Chaplin, Ted Williams, Alistair Cook. I don't know who some of these people are, but I will find out. Yeah, it just seems really, really interesting. Galileo, David Livingstone. I'm just very, very intrigued. The next one I got was Carlo Valentine's Postmortem. So this is about a pathologist and life behind mortuary doors. So I think that will make some quite interesting reading. Caitlin Doherty's Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, which is about the business of cremation. I did read one of her other books. I think it's called Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? Something along those lines, and that was very informative, but with a very humour based writing style. So I'm hoping this one will be just as good. And then the last one in the funeral business, you'll all be happy to know, is All That Remains in Life and Death, Sue Black. I don't actually know too much about this one. So Sue Black is a professor of anatomy and forensic anthropology. She focuses on mortuary remains in her lab at burial sites and scenes of violence, murder, criminal dismemberment, and investigates mass fatalities. So again, sounds pretty interesting if you like that sort of thing. I appreciate it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's something that does intrigue me. Moving on to the last pile that I got from World of Books this year is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. So many booktubers have recommended this, so many of my friends have recommended this. I had to get my hands on a copy, and this is also going to be upcoming in a Region Challenge pretty soon, so I'm very intrigued to read that one as well. One of my most anticipated orders this year was She Who Became the Sun, and this book breaks gender. So it's about a brother and a sister growing up in Imperial China, and the sister adopts her brother's identity in order to survive. So I guess it's kind of very loosely like Disney's Mulan, where she adopts her father's identity, so he doesn't have to go to war and she goes to war instead of him. But she has to make it convincible that she's actually a man, not a woman. So I imagine it's going to be along the same sort of lines of that, and I cannot wait to read this one. I hope I get to read it at some point soon. Next one is Oscar Wilde's De Fundis. As I said in a previous video, I have soft DNF'd this, so it's back on my TBR. I just was not in this right frame of mind to fully appreciate what I was reading, so instead of I'm sorry, it's very, very windy outside. I'm hoping it's not too disturbing on the audio, but it's very distracting. And now I've totally lost my train of thought. Anyway, yes, back on the TBR shelf. I'm sure it will get picked up at some point again soon. Sophie's Choice. Sophie's Choice is a book that I've been wanting to read for years, but every time I pick it up, I get very intimidated because she's big. The writing is quite small, and I know it's gonna tear me apart. So yeah, just don't think I've been quite in the right mindset yet. But all the same, I am very intrigued to read this. So maybe in the next TBR, who knows? Number the Stars is a book that I read during the month of August. It is based on wartime, Second World War in Copenhagen, and it follows the story of a little girl called Anne-Marie and her friend. It's such a sweet story. It's so heartwarming and so heartbreaking at the same time. It's a nice little short one, but yeah, it's got a lot packed into it. I do recommend. George Sanders' Lincoln in the Bardo. I'm not gonna lie, I picked this up and read the blurb, and the first line was, American Civil War rages while President Lincoln's beloved 11-year-old son lies gravely ill. In a matter of days, he is dead. What? I didn't even need to read the rest of the blurb. That went straight in my hand, straight to the checkout till. So I'm very, very intrigued to start to read that one. Don't know if you guys can see, but there's quite a haunting picture of a little boy on the front of the cover. And it's the winner of the Man Booker Prize of 2017. So I'm very intrigued to start reading that one. Fit down there, just about. And then the last two I've got from Wilder Books this year are two about, they're like middle grade / YA books about the Holocaust. So we have The Young Survivors, which follows the story of 5 siblings who have lost everything and their journey to survive and start such a new life. I'm yet to read it. I'm very intrigued to read it. And then the next one is The Red Ribbon, which is about a 14-year-old little girl, Ella, who works at the concentration camps. Again, not read it, but I am very intrigued to read it. Which brings us to our last stack of books. And these are books that I have got at a discounted price, either through charity shops or places like TK Maxx, where they sell quite modern books at like 70% off. And I'm also very lucky that I do currently work in a bookshop where I do have good staff discounts, so books that I purchased through work are also in this pile. So let's get started. There's only about another 30 to go. I'm joking, there's not quite that many. Is there? So the first two that I've got are Persuasion by Jane Austen and Emma by Jane Austen. I am trying to make my way through all of Jane Austen's work. So far I've read Mansfield Park, Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, and oh no, I've got Sanditon to read for September. So I'm very much looking forward to reading those, and I just thought the covers for the cloth bands were so pretty. Got there. The next one I have got for another reading challenge, which is Jack London, The Call of the Wild and Whitefang. I wasn't over on picking up this book, but I was out with my dad and he said that he'd heard lots of people saying really, really good things about it. So picked it up and we'll give it a go. Sorry, just trying to group a few together. Right, okay. So then Jane Austen Sanditon, as I said, this will be a September read. Very much looking forward to adding another Jane Austen work to my read list. Jane Austen Sense and Sensibility I read, I think this might have been my June reads. I really enjoyed it. Not quite as much as Pride and Prejudice, that is my favourite so far, but it was still really good. And then I've recently purchased Alice in Wonderland, and that will be for an upcoming reading challenge video. I really need to remember to breathe when I'm talking. If I suddenly keel over, it's because I'm not breathing properly. Then I went for a thriller. I got this one from work and it's on our bestseller chart and it's been there for quite a few weeks. And that is Lisa Jewell's The Truth About Melody Brown, and I plan on reading this in the month of October. Maybe instead of TBR in October, I would do a thriller reading challenge, or maybe all my prompts need to relate to thrillers and spookies. Well, we'll have a think. Have a think about that. And then another one I got to do with criminal psychology is The Criminal Mind. Again, this is from Broadmoor to the Old Bailey, true stories from forensic psychiatrists' casebooks. I just thought that sounded really, really interesting. So I can't wait to read that one as well. So I'm trying to put things away as I go, because otherwise I just end up with past books everywhere. The Odyssey by Homer. This I read at school in Spain, so I read it in Spanish and I've never read it in English, so I'm very much looking forward to reading this again. I read it probably 12 years ago in college, so yeah, very much looking forward to rereading that one at some point. That actually might even be coming up in a reading video. The next group of books I got are Friedrich Bachmann to add to my collection, and we have a man called, never pronounce this correctly, Uwe? Somebody will correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. The Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer, which I believe is a story about dementia or Alzheimer's. But it is, I believe it's told from a child's point of view, and I just thought it was such a sweet concept, so I really look forward to reading that one. Then I have Anxious People, and then book 1 and 2 of the Beartown. I think it's a trilogy. I need book 3, I'm waiting for it to come out in paperback so they all match. So I've got Beartown and Us Against You. And then a couple more books that I picked up for my birthday with some gift cards and money people gave me is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. It is an absolute beast. This is recommended by somebody's opinion I value a lot. I know people are going to come at me in the comments because all the speculation around Neil Gaiman at the moment. I can appreciate that they are not a model citizen, but I am somebody who can disassociate the art from the person, a bit like the Harry Potter. I can appreciate the Harry Potter world without agreeing to J.K. Rowling's views and opinions. So I'm going to do the same with Neil Gaiman. I'm going to value this as art, but I do not agree under any circumstance his actions if they are true. Absolutely not. But again, this was highly recommended by somebody's opinion that I really value, so this will also be coming up in a reading challenge, hopefully in the next couple of months. Coco Miller's Blue Sisters. This was FOMO, I'm not going to lie. I had very little interest in reading this until a few weeks ago when suddenly everybody I knew was talking about it, and I was like, clearly I need to read this. I didn't read Cleopatra and Frankenstein. That one really doesn't call my interest at the moment, but maybe if I really like this one, we'll give that one a go as well. We're nearly there, guys, I promise. We're on to the very last stack. Mum, Dad, if you're still watching, I'm so sorry. Next one is a classic, Catch-22. I just thought the concept sounded really intriguing, but I am also quite intimidated because it is a chunkster and the writing isn't the biggest, and I know it's going to be quite weighty, not just physically, but the style of writing is going to be quite weighty, so I'm waiting until I'm in the right frame of mind to read that, but I know I'm going to like it when I do read it. This again was a recommendation from a psychologist that I know. That was Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before by Dr. Julie Smith. I haven't started reading it yet. I have had a flick through, and the little snippets I have read are actually very good, so I am very much intrigued in reading the whole thing and picking up lots of little helpful tools to manage my own life. Next one I have is Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code. I watched the movie when I was like 12, 13. I'm not gonna lie, it scared the heck out of me. I found it really creepy, but now that I'm considerably older, I want to read the book before I rewatch the movie. So I found that for, I think this was £4. I was like, that will do. The Raven and Other Tales of Horror by Edgar Allan Poe. This is on my August TBR, and to be honest, I kind of wish it wasn't on my August TBR because it is definitely a spooky season book, but who knows? I'm still quite a way out of finishing my TBR for August, and I have very limited days left, so maybe it will go back on the TBR and I will do a spooky season video about it. The next 4 are all by the same author, and these are John Grisham. I watched a documentary on Netflix. What was it called? The Innocent Man, I think it was called, and it had John Grisham in it, and my parents really like John Grisham, and I picked these up from work, and they were the 4 that sounded most intriguing to me, so I'll let you know what I think about those ones when I get round to reading them. The last ones on the YA front are the 3rd and 4th book in the Natural series, All In and Bad Blood, and I cannot wait to continue reading this series. I'm actually really sad that there wasn't a prompt in the August TBR jar that allowed me to grab book number 3, but alas, we roll. And then one of the next books I got is Interesting Stories About Curious Words by Susie Dent, and this is, it is what it says on the cover. It's just interesting stories about phrases and idioms that we've accumulated over the centuries and words. And Susie Dent is, for anybody who doesn't know, she's on Countdown in Dictionary Corner, and she is an absolute whiz with words. I am very jealous about her knowledge of words because it's so good. So I'm hoping that will be a really good read. And then the last 2 books you'll all be happy to know are Fredrik Backman's My Friends. I was going to wait until this came out in paperback just because all my other Fredrik Backman's are paperback, but yeah, that didn't happen. I couldn't wait. I needed this book. I'm so excited to read it. I have too many books I just want to read right now. I just need more time. That's what I need. Just need more time. And then the last book is ironically actually one of the first books I bought this year, and that was From Here to the Great Unknown, Lisa Marie Presley and her daughter Riley Q? Not quite sure how to pronounce that. And it is basically what life was growing up with Elvis as your father, and then how life changed after Elvis passed away. It was such a good read. I highly recommend this book. I read it in one day. It was so beautifully written with some really nice stories in it. So yes, do recommend that one. Right, if you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for bearing with me. I didn't realise I'd actually accumulated so many books this year, but thankfully the year is entering its last quarter, and I will try and keep my purchases to a minimum for the rest of the year, and we'll start again next year. So let me guys, I spent too long talking. So let me know what books you guys have bought this year and what have been your favourite reads and what your anticipated reads are for the end of the year. See you soon. Bye. It's going to be a ridiculously long video.